Good afternoon and welcome to one more webinar from Telerik India. So this is a series of webinars we conduct pretty much every month, close to 2 to 3 webinars in a month. It happens every Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. India Standard Time. If you want to know the schedule, you can always go to telerikhelper.net. That's the website where we put up our schedule. So today we're going to be looking at Kendo UI, developing front-end application with one-stop JavaScript solution or one package for web mobile database apps. So that's the today's webinar goal or objective. Uh, Before I get into any slides or anything, I just want to point you to what we call as modern web applications. So typically today the modern web applications are kind of becoming more responsive. When I say responsive, it's not just about screen resize, rather the responsive in the sense of user doesn't get the feel that he's actually browsing a page or he's actually on an internet, so typically when you have a Windows based application, you feel like you're always connected. So that's the kind of application development, or that's the kind of model that typically all web applications are going towards. So these are known as single page applications. So what you're seeing here in front of you in the screen is known as a single page app by the name of Sushi. So this is a demo app that we have, but it kind of mimics a real world scenario. So basically, just give me a second. Somebody is saying they can't hear me. So please, I request you to please check your audio setting. I'm muted. I'm speaking. I think everybody is able to hear me. So you may want to check your audio settings. Thank you. So this is a sushi. So the idea is I'm a let's say a sushi bar. I want to have an application wherein people can order sushis on the web, and then I will deliver it. So basically I want to show a menu of sushis that I have. So what you're seeing here is actually all the menu that I have. So different sushis and salads, all those things that I have. And one thing I can do here is, if you see here, basically I can click on it. I can click on a particular sushi, and what you see is, basically you'll get a details about the sushi itself. So what exactly is this? It's actually an organic greens topped with fresh sashimi, wasabi, soy vinaigrette. This costs $12, and then here's the nutritional information for this particular sushi, right? But notice what happened to the address bar. If I zoom in, I never left my page. I did not go to the server. Rather, notice how the UI is changing. So it's basically doing an hash. So that means it's an internal link or internal reference on the page. And then it says /menu/1. Not only that, I can go to the next salad. So that's Shirashi Sushi, seaweed salad, and then keep noticing what is happening to the menu bar. It says /4 now. Fine, I want to add to a cart, so let me click on a cart. There you go. On the top, I see the cart now. The cart has my CV edamame being added. It says 1 into $4, so my total shopping cart is $4. I can go ahead and add it. Notice what is happening. The price is automatically increased. If I keep on clicking, so I'll have miso soup. I'll say I want 2 miso soup. So you see that it says 2 into 4, 2 into 4, 16. And now what I can do is I can click on checkout. And when I do a checkout, I'm able to see all my quantities, the items, everything. But notice what happened to the address bar. So this is staying as is. Basically, it's now gone to /checkout. And then not only that, look at what happens to the grid now. If I want to decrease, so the price immediately reflects the changes. I go add 3, so the price immediately reflects the changes. I go add maybe 3 or 4, 5. So take a look at this. It immediately reflects the changes I'm doing. Now let me go ahead and then order it. So that's what happened. So basically what I did now is a lot of things within the application, but I never left my page. So this is becoming more of a modern modern web phenomena, wherein people are moving towards the single page apps, wherein the end user experience is that I'm staying here, but still I keep getting a lot of things. So how is this possible, right? So there are a couple of components that you need if you have to make these things happen. First one is routing. So basically you saw me, for example, now let me do a live sync. So if I have to go and then directly look at, let's say, menu and then /10, you will see that, I see 10. So now I can go and then look at my checkout. So sorry, not menu, it's /checkout. So if I directly click on this, you see that the screen is responding to that changes. Currently I don't have anything in my cart, so that's why you see empty. But the point is, so there is a routing engine that's playing a role here. Not only that, when I go back and let's say add to cart, you see this guy coming up. I click on add to cart again, you will see the prices increasing. So that is possible through what we call as an MVVM pattern. You do a two-way data binding, so anybody who changes this particular object and then he goes ahead and says, okay, it is a 3, so the cart object, so the everywhere whoever is subscribing to that particular property gets notified and they update their UI. So lot many things. This is again a UI widget. If you see here, I have a list view coming up here, which is neatly showing 5 columns here, and then it's been done. So these are all widgets, and I can go to the shopping cart, I can look at that, I can do a check, I can do a cancel, all those things. So basically there are many components that go into building your application. So now having given you the context of what this application is, how these kind of application are built, let's now jump back to my slide deck. So basically what is happening in current day scenario is this, you end up using a lot of what I call as a single scope libraries. So you use Backbone for maybe data binding, you will use Mustache for maybe templating, you will use jQuery UI or jQGrid or HighChart for data visualization, _JS for utilities, jQuery mobile for maybe the mobile UI. But what is happening with these things? So each one of them, yes, they do a very good job of what they are meant for, but these are all single scope libraries, so they can do only one thing. So basically if you so what is happening here is everybody depends on maybe a jQuery, let's say that's the base foundation for everybody needs, but jQuery keeps moving. So who's going to keep track of all the single scope libraries? Are they compatible with the latest version of jQuery, all those things. So typically you end up doing a catching game, saying like, oh, I have to upgrade my jQuery, but does that particular other library support jQuery version that I want to upgrade or not? And moreover, so it's like, it's not consistent. It's not like they don't play well together. So that's the main point here. So you got to make sure you have to go behind the whoever is the author of that and saying like, hey, I want to use jQuery so and so version, but your plugin does not support. What do I do? He's going to say this is an open source library. Go ahead, use the source code, change it for yourself if you need it. Then do a fork, give a pull request, and then I'll merge it back. So that's typically what you end up in an enterprise or a scenario. But what exactly do you need? From my perspective, it's actually one library which can help you build the websites and apps, right? It can be a web app, it can be a mobile app, maybe if you want to provide a mobile pages, and you want a data visualization. So you don't need to go behind different things. All you need is one library which can help you do these things. So basically, what is Kendo UI? Now let's come back to the main thing about today's webinar. So we said one-stop JavaScript libraries or one package is all you need. So what exactly is that? So the name is Kendo UI. That's a client-side HTML5 based JavaScript UI framework. Everything you need to build sites and mobile apps with HTML and JavaScript. That's all. That's in one single sentence. That is what Kendo UI is all about. We already have seen 500,000 downloads of Kendo UI. We have been close to 2 years now, and then people love Kendo UI. For the simplest fact that what it can do and what all things it provides. So they have to worry about only one package, not different packages. So and not only that, it's backed by Telerik. I mean, it's a Telerik product. So we make sure we don't break anything backward. We make sure it works on all browser. We make sure it works with jQuery. So we take all the things on our end. And here is a kind of if anybody of you out there have seen Chrome, Google Chrome notebook, I think it's known as Chrome OS. So those notebook actually come with a default webcam webcam app. So basically it lets you take photographs using the webcam that is there in the notebook. So that default webcam app that is there in the Chrome OS has been written using Kendo UI, because Chrome OS allows you to write packaged HTML5 apps, and Kendo UI is completely HTML5. So using that, in fact, the picture that you're seeing is our evangelist. His name is Burke Haaland. So he worked on this particular app, and then he worked with Google, and then from our side, Burke Haaland, and then so the app is there on the Chrome OS, and it is using Kendo UI. So anybody who's using Chrome OS has Kendo UI, has seen Kendo UI and its power. So I just wanted to make it a point that this is how to the extent of which Kendo UI has been used. So now coming to Kendo UI, what exactly is Kendo UI? So Kendo UI is three things. In one package, you will get web, you will get mobile, and then you will get database capabilities. If you use Kendo UI, so we have three different subcategories within Kendo UI. From a web perspective, we have web widgets, web framework elements, out of the box 7 themes that's supported. We also support Angular directives now. From a mobile perspective, we have a complete hybrid mobile control set. We give you a complete mobile widgets. It has mobile framework elements, and then also Kendo UI mobile is out of the box, cross-platform, and then adaptive rendering. It can adapt to any platform, mobile platform, and then show the UI as a native UI. It looks very similar to the native, like it converts the whole app, or it converts the whole UI of your mobile app to look as if it is a native app. That's what we mean by adaptive rendering. It adapts to the platform it's running on. And data visualization, basically, as you know, it's nothing but graphs and charts. Data visualization widgets, since it's HTML5, it's all SVG based, and it can fall back to VML when running in a non-HTML5 browser. At the moment, we have around 22 widgets. Web has around 40 widgets. Mobile has around 25 widgets or so. So put together is Kendo UI. But if you're developing if you're developing a web application, you are most probably going to be using Kendo UI Web. It's just a JavaScript file. If you're developing a cross-platform mobile application, you are typically will be using Kendo UI Mobile JS file. And if you have a data visualization need, you will be typically using a Kendo UI Data Viz JS file, and then it will have the widgets, and then you can start working on that. So what interests me, or what excites me as a web developer, so I've been web developer from last 13-14 years, and the widgets are not that fancy to me. If you ask me, I've been working with Kendo from the last 2 years. So what excites me, or what kind of makes me wonder, is the framework level elements. We call it as Kendo framework elements, but these are like all the widgets or the controls. They rely on all these framework level elements. The one framework element that stands out for me is the data source. Somebody is saying they are still seeing my first first slide deck. I'm sorry. So if you're seeing my first slide deck, no, I'm not on the first slide deck. The current day scenario looks like, and the audio, the templates are moving. The slide deck is moving correctly. So maybe there is a problem at your end for the internet. So please hang in there. Maybe it will go through. So what excites me is the data source. Basically, what you are seeing here is, these are the framework elements that we provide in Kendo UI. So whether you use Kendo UI Web or Kendo UI Mobile or Kendo UI Database, you get these framework elements. It's there. It's baked in. You get data source. It's a JavaScript data source object wherein it does all the heavy lifting that you need. Otherwise, like for example, with our data source, I'm going to be showing demo in a while, but I'm just explaining what it does. So you give me the URL, I'm going to go invoke the service, get the data, get the JSON, convert into an array, give it to you. So that's what the data source does in one statement. And it can do full CRUD. It can read, it can write, it can update, it can delete. So all through setting an URL. Then validation. So typically everybody goes for HTML5 validation. By the way, I think we all should be happy because I think yesterday W3C has officially standardized the HTML. They've accepted that okay, HTML5 spec will be standardized. So that's good for web developers. So till it becomes mainstream, that is all browsers support HTML5. You cannot do HTML5 validation. The day all browsers support HTML5 validation, that will be the day we can stop writing all the email regex or the required field validators, all those things, because the job will be of the browser from now onwards, when HTML5 gets standardized. So what do you do now if you want the similar construct, and then you want to write an HTML5 way of validation, but you also want to support non-HTML5 browser, where if you use our Kendo UI validation, it can do that. When it sees that it is an HTML5 browser, it will pretty much make use of those constructs, and then when it sees that hey, it's not an HTML5 browser, he's going to go polyfill a JavaScript codes and then make sure that your validation is done right. Globalization, with just one line of code, you can actually make sure that your UIs are all basically, if you have used any Kendo UI widget and you want to support let's say some other locale using globalization, one line of code, all our controls, wherever there is a static text in our controls, those will be basically globalized, meaning they will get the local text, locale text, or whatever you will be doing. So that's the globalization. Templating, so we have our own templating engine, so it's pretty fast when compared to jQuery templates. Or the other day our team was trying to see where we stand. I think we are in top 5 in terms of the speed, performance, everything. So we allow you templating, we allow you MVVM, out of the box MVVM, you don't have to go for another thing. And then of course drag and drop, epic, the effects like the animation, and biggest thing, the single page application framework. Basically I showed you Sushi, so that Sushi was actually developed using Kendo UI framework, the single page application framework. We'll try to see all these things depending on time. I'm just trying to go through and then tell you what are the things. Of course Kendo UI does have widgets or the controls, so that will be there, and also we support Angular directives. So this is typically what Kendo UI is all about. This is what Kendo UI gives you, the framework elements, the widgets, all those things. So let's see how to get started. So you can always go download Kendo UI from telerik.com. So if you go here, www.telerik.com, and if you go to products, you will see we have HTML5 JS framework Kendo UI. So just go there, click on Kendo UI, and you can start doing a free trial. So at this moment I think it is fair enough for me to explain why we are saying download free trial here. Kendo UI comes in 2 flavors. One is an open source version known as Kendo UI Core. Another one is known as Kendo UI Professional. As you can see here, the Kendo UI, what you land up here is actually the professional version, and that's why it says download free trial. But if you're looking for open source version, what you can do is Kendo UI /open source core. So this is the URL, Kendo UI open source core. So if I go here, it will show an open source version of Kendo UI. The only difference being there are certain advanced widgets, like for example this is the grid. So this grid is not, and all the advanced widgets like grid, scheduler, all these things are not available as part of the core, the open source version. If you see here, the open source version will be able to give you this many widgets. If you see here, it will give you all the web framework, it will give you this many web widgets, and the mobile framework, and also the mobile widgets. So the complete mobile widgets is free. So this is Kendo UI Core. And if you are looking for data visualization, and then if you're looking for advanced widgets like grid, and then all those things, so it's basically the Kendo UI Professional version. So that's a paid product. So let's talk about what are the capabilities. Let me bring in Sublime. So I'm using Sublime text editor now this time. So let me bring in that, and I'm going to just I was just practicing before this, so let me clean up a couple of stuff. And okay, I hope the source code is visible. So otherwise I'll just increase my font. You should be able to see like the font should be. So now basically what I'm trying to do is I will be, so if you go to our site, it says there is only 4 ways to get started. So download and copy the JS and styles directory, include the Kendo UI, JavaScript and CSS files, add an HTML element, initialize the Kendo widget. So that's what this GIF is currently showcasing you. As you can see here, I have the style sheet. So it relies on 2 style sheets, common.css and then default.css. So default.css is the theme. We have around 7 themes out of 11 themes out of the box as of now, and we rely on jQuery. That's why you see there is a jQuery.min, jQuery.js reference, and then you can refer kendo.web or kendo.core or kendo.database or kendo.mobile. So depending on what you're doing, and then creating widgets are just this much: input id is equal to date picker function, and then if you see here $# date picker dot kendo date picker. So let's see how to do this. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm using our CDN versions for the style sheets and then JavaScript. I don't want to copy it here, so I have a license, so basically I'm using the CDN. So in the CDN, all I'm saying is get me the kendo common.min.css, get me the kendo.default.min.css, and then I'm of course referencing jQuery, and I'm of course referencing the core version of it. So let's talk about core first, and then we'll take a look at the professional version. So that's the first step. Second step is I can come back here and then say like give me an input id is equal to k date picker, or let me do a calendar. So k calendar, and then that's it. And then I can just come in and then do a script tag, and here what I'm going to do is ready. Oh, sorry about that. So here all I'm going to do now is document on ready. I will say $, get me that particular HTML element whose ID is k calendar, and I want that to be converted into calendar, right? So that's all we have to do. So now if I go to my browser, and let me open up the source code where it is stored. Give me a second. I'm just opening the page, demos and index.html. Made a mistake. So where did I make a mistake? Okay. Script on ready has calendar, and then I have the, where is the IT coming? Just give me a second. Okay, here. My first demo is failing. Let me see what I did. So k calendar, kendo calendar. Oh, I know. So calendar cannot be on the input. So what I need to do is, there you go. So what happened was, basically our calendar is this is a calendar. So if on any web page you want to have a mini calendar like this, this is what you need to do. Let's say you want to have a date picker. So for that, what we need to do is input id is equal to k date picker, and you come back here and then copy this line, and then I'll paste, and then I'll say k date picker, and I want this as kendo date picker. Okay, so now if I come back here, you will see a date picker coming. So let me put a breakpoint, break here, HTML break. So now what you saw was, I just have two HTML elements here, and I just called two JavaScript statements here. So it's as simple as doing any jQuery based programming. So there's no learning curve for you. You know jQuery, you know Kendo. All you need to do is Kendo and then a control name. So here I want a Kendo calendar. I want a Kendo date picker. So now if you see here, this is the date picker. So same. So calendar means it stays on the page. Whereas I want to input text box like this. Click on this. Click on 30. I wanted this one. So if you see here. I just selected a date, and then now the input box. Oh, my browser is not visible. Okay, this is the second time GoToMeeting is doing that. Okay, give me a second. So GoToMeeting just does not show IE. I'm not sure why. Let me bring back Chrome. Okay, now you guys should be able to see it. Thank you for whoever told me that you guys are not able to see it. So there you go. So let me put it side by side and then explain what is happening here. So we first went out and then said have a div called kCalendar, put an input kDatePicker, and then on ready, all I'm doing is grab that element called kCalendar, convert that into Kendo calendar, grab that kDatePicker, convert that into Kendo date pickers, and that's what you're seeing on the right hand side. Now this is fine. This is a JavaScript way of doing things. So I don't like this. Maybe no, this is not that great. So is there another way of doing things? Yes. So all you need to do is do a data dash role calendar, and then come back here, do a data dash role is equal to date picker, and instead of on ready, instead of saying convert each element, I can say kendo dot init document dot body. Okay, so now when I go and then refresh my page, well, you won't see any changes because you will still see I already refreshed the page, so you still don't see any changes. That is because Kendo controls are created. But what you saw here was, this is one was declarative way, explicit way, and then now this is implicit. So I'm putting a data dash role, and I want the Kendo engine to go and then see, hey, who are the guys who needs to be converted into Kendo control. So calendar, date picker, these are all our control. So it just picks up and then converts that. So this is fine. Is there something else we can do with this? This is just a so let's quickly try to do something. What I want to do is I want to create a view model here. So let's say I create a var view model is equal to just give me a second. My mouse is kind of not just give me a second. I'm having problem with my mouse. Okay, back. I'm not sure what happened. So what I'm going to do is Kendo, out of the box, I talked about providing MEVM support, right? So we have this concept of observable object. So what I'm going to do now here is I will say I have my birthday. Let's say the birthday is today. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to data bind this particular calendar to actually show my birthday. Now, that is today. So it needs to be selected for today. So what I will do is I'll come back here, and then all I need to do is data dash bind or data dash value is equal to data dash bind, and the calendar control has a property called as value. So I can say value is birthday. Okay, now how does it get this data, right? So for that, all we need to do is we have to say kendo.bind. So the difference between init and bind is init is when you want just the controls to be initialized, but if you want to do a data binding, you need to call kendo.bind and just pass the view model. Okay, so now when I go back to the screen and then do a refresh, okay, we have a, let me check where I made a mistake. Kendo.observable, document.body, data-bind, birthday. Oh, let me check where what step I missed. Unexpected token equals where? Oh, okay, I know. I did my dry runs 5 times. There you go. So now you see, yeah, thank you. So somebody said need a colon. Yeah, you were right. So I put an equal, so I did needed a colon. So as you can see here now, it is able to pretty much select this birthday. So what happens to this date picker? Can we get the same guy here also? Yes, you can always say data dash bind value colon birthday. So now what will happen is the text box also will show. Let's say I'm going to go ahead and then select this. Notice what happened to the calendar. The calendar changes immediately. That is because now both the calendar and the date picker are bound to a single property, and then anybody changes anywhere, they get reflected. The subscription is there, meaning our two-way data binding kicks in, and then it starts working. Now another thing that I want to do is I want to have a span here, and I want to show expanded form of the date. So what we can do is, as you can note, the date time .toString in JavaScript cannot format your things correctly. So what we have is, I can come back here and then say birthday string, and this will be a function, and I will say return kendo.toString. So first is this dot get. So notice what I'm doing. I'm not directly reading the birthday property, rather I'm saying this dot get. So what happens with this dot get is, now Kendo engine knows that birthday string is depending on the birthday property. Anytime birthday property changes, it needs to go ahead and then say, hey, birthday string, birthday change, you go evaluate yourself. And if somebody is bound to birthday string in the UI will be repainted. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to say kendo.toString this one, and then I will say maybe ddd dd then and y. Okay, and we will use this birthday string to the span. So again, I can do a data dash bind. Span will have a text binding, so I will say birthday string. So come back here, do a refresh, and now you will see. Okay, let me put a break here. So what you're seeing now is, at the bottom we have the span here. So now the span is bound to Thursday 30th. Okay, what did I make a mistake here for the Let's do. So now it says Thursday 30th October 2014, right? So now what I can do is, if I change anywhere, all the three are now reflecting. So you just saw what happened to this. So I've selected 14. So the date picker also, the input box also has 1014, and then now the string says Tuesday 14 October 2014. So what I'm trying to say is, I showcased a couple of things here. One is widget initialization in two ways. One is JavaScript way, another one is the data dash role or the HTML5 way of instantiating the widgets. Second is data binding. Pretty much you saw how easy it is to do the data binding out of the box. All you needed was just one package, that's Kendo UI. So that's typically, when this is the simplest things in terms of the the control, the initialization, the MVVM. Similarly, all the other things are there. What I want to focus now is to showcase you how easy it is to build maybe a single page application. Of course, maybe let's get to a data source demo. What we'll do is we'll try to create a new file, and I will save this demos. I will say data source.html, and let me just go ahead, copy a couple of stuff here. And no, I don't want a script. I want HTML. Oh, what is it doing? Okay, so with our data source, I want to showcase how you can read a remote data. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a div. In the interest of the time, I'm going to be, I already have some code built up, so I'll be just pasting those code. Then come back here and then do a script and do a document ready. Okay, be ready here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to name my div as a product. I'm going to go out to our servers, demo servers, and then get what do you call? I'm going to read data from there. So let me explain you what this code is doing. Let me just okay. So what you're seeing here is a Kendo data source object. Basically, this Kendo data source object is nothing but, I'm instantiating this object, the data source object. Pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm saying transport read URL. Hey, I want you to go here in this URL whenever you have to read data. That's all I'm saying to that particular data source. What I'm saying is read URL. So URL is demos.telerik.com, Kendo UI service products. So if I show you what this does, let me open up Postman, or maybe I'll do it here. So if you see the products here, there you go. I just went ahead and then executed demos.telerik.com kendo/UI/service/products, and then what it is doing is basically it's going ahead and then giving me all the products that are there. If you see here, the product ID, product name, unit price, units in stock, discontinued, all those things are coming up. So that means the service is okay. So now what we'll do is, and of course we give you all the events, like when the data source is making a request. So request started, what do you want to do? So I want a progress to be shown on the products div. Remember, we have a div here. Now this is fine. How should it show the data? So there is an event that gets fired when data source completes its request, meaning it went to the server responded back with the JSON data, and then it has got the JSON data to the client side. So if you see here, I'm saying on change, get the products, and then for that product I want to render a template. So let's see what this template is all about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and then write this particular template. So if you see here, this is a template. As you know, we just give it some unknown name so that the script, the browser does not kind of execute this. What I'm going to do is, for this images, I'm going to go to our servers and then get it. So Kendo UI content web foods. Okay, so let's play movement to on this. What is happening? So I've named given the ID as a template. Let's not worry about the products. So I need so I need a couple of style sheets. So just give me a second. I'll just get the style sheets. So I just needed a couple of style sheets. So let me go ahead to the bottom and then just put them. This is just all in the interest of the time. Otherwise, you will have to see me all typing all these things. So all I'm doing is I'm creating a blueprint here, or a template as we call it. So I'm saying I want a div. I want the image of the product. So here is the our templating engine syntax. This is the syntax that you can use in the template. So this is saying nothing but, hey, at runtime, you're going to get a property called product name in the data item that you will be bound to. So output the value of that here. And this is how you say hash colon product name hash, and then hash colon Kendo toString unit price into currency. So I want to convert the unit price into a currency. By default, the globalization that it uses is the EN-US. So you will see a dollar coming up. So I've defined my template. Now I need to use this template. So for that, what we need to do is we just have to create a JavaScript entity here. So I'm saying var template is nothing but kendo.template. So again, this is the templating that I talked about. Kendo.template, hash template, and then I'm taking the HTML out of that and then converting into Kendo template. Now coming back to the change, all we are saying is, hey, Kendo renderer. So renderer knows about Kendo templates. Take the data. Here is the template, how it needs to be done, and then render it onto this particular products div. So we have the products div. So if all is well now, we should get this working correctly. So let me see if everything is fine for me. Looks like it. So let me come back here and then say data source .html. Well, there you go. So that's all it takes to create a list view. Of course, there are certain CSS magic. For example, when I mouse over, you're seeing like, the $18 is coming up. So that's the CSS magic. But what I want to tell you here is, this is the, all I did was I just said data source transport read URL, go to this URL, read the data as a JSON P. On request start, I want you to do this. On request end, I want you to do this. On change, grab this element and add the HTML coming out of this template rendering using the data that you just read. So that's all I said, and then it does everything. And then if you see here, div ID products, that's all. I don't have anything else, right? So that's how easy it is. And next, what I want to talk about is showcase how you can build single page applications. So I hope this is clear. So let me show what is happening. So if I do an F5 now, you will see there was a spinning thing coming up. So that's because we said, like, whenever the request starts, I want you to show the progress. When the request ends, I want you to hide the progress. And typically I'm just going and then getting the data, product ID, product name, and then price, and then it's being shown. And because of the kendo.toString currency conversion, you see dollar sign coming up in the thing. And this is all we have in terms of the data source. So I've just shown read here, but this is capable of doing a complete CRUD. If you go to our online demos, you'll be able to see that it can do read up, the create, update, and delete also. For them, all you do is instead of read, apart from read, you will give create, update, and delete, and then the data source will handle all those CRUD operations. It can do sorting, it can do filtering, all those things will be done. In the interest of the time, I'm not showing that. Now let's start building maybe a single page application. So I'm going to go and then say spa demo.html, and let me copy a couple of the bare bones. Now, first thing that I want to do as part of the single page application using Kendo UI is, I just want to bring in my layout. So where should my app come in? So I have just kept it here, and now this is the body, HTML, and I need my script block, and I want my document ready. So that's it. So now, first thing that I want to do as part of the single page application is to, I'll explain each one step that is required as part of the SPA here. So first thing that we want to do is to define our layout, but the layout will be defined as again a script template. So let me come back here and then show you what I'm doing. So here is my script template. All I'm doing is I have a div which says Kendo UI Spa demo, and then all I'm doing is taking a unordered list, and then notice what I'm doing. I'm saying data-role menu, data-bind events select. On selection of this menu, I want to be there will be an event handler called as on change. So we'll see what that is. So typically what I've done is I've just created a template which will be used as a layout for my application, so the single page application. So now that's the UI part of it. Now second thing that we need to do is we need to come back and then create one of the framework level elements called as Kendo layout. So here is the layout that I've created. I said var layout is equal to new kendo.layout, and this string that you see should match the ID of the UI. So this is the UI, right? So script ID layout, so it should match that. And then I'm passing a model object to that particular UI. So that's how the data binding is going to work. Notice that I have on change, event handler here. So that is what bound here to that particular menu. So whenever menu changes, this is the event handler that will be invoked. And here all I'm doing is figuring out which menu item was clicked. Was it first, and was it second? So notice now we are bringing in something called as a router. So now this is a good time to initialize my router. So what I will do is Kendo UI provides this object called as router. So I'm just creating a router here. So I said, hey, var router is equal to new kendo.router, and we provide a concept of initialize, so it will automatically call when this initialization happens. So all I'm saying is, hey, there is a layout object. I want you to render that layout in hash app. So hash app is nothing but this div. So I want this to be rendered here, right? Now after doing this, we need to define our routes. So what does a route mean? It means that, hey, if any time my address bar changes to this route, I want you to intercept and then do something. So I'm setting up routes on my router, saying like, hey, whenever there is a request for the route, meaning somebody is going to the route, I want you to show this particular view in content. So what I will do in, if you notice my layout, I have a div called as content. Okay, now what it is saying is layout show in this content this particular view. So whenever somebody goes, I mean if the URI changes to hash second, so that basically is nothing but a second view. Layout show second view in this hash content. So now we need this index view on the second view. So let's create that. So the views are very simple. If you see here, where index view, new kendo.view index view. So this is the again the UI template, the script template that we need to do. So and for simplicity's sake, I've just kept a model foo as a property. Now I need index view and second view. So I'll come back to my scripting templates and create a simple script templates here. To start out with, what I will do is I'll just say script, and the ID of this is index view or whatever, first view, whatever it is. So I'll say first view. Similarly, for now, just to prove the point, I'll just say second view. And I can do a second view here. Okay, now if I go back to the browser and then say spa demo.html, if everything is right, I should see, okay, I have a problem. The problem is we did everything, but we never told what, I mean, we never started the router. So we need to start the router so that he starts listening to the URI changes. So now, there you go. So what I did was I missed starting the router. So now I've started the router. So what the router did was it saw that the request is for the route, root route. So what is root route? The root route says whenever there is a request coming in for the root route, there is a layout. Show that layout. In that layout there is a element called as content. In that content I want you to show index view. So what is index view? Index view says, hey, there is a template called as index view. You just show that in the content. So what is the index view? Index view says first view, and this gets replaced inside, or this gets added appended inside the content. Now when I click on second, you will see second view coming up. Let me wait for you guys to see that. So I've clicked on second, and then you should see that now the text changes to second view. So what is happening is, and also notice the URI. The URI now says second, right? So that's because it's basically went ahead and then trapped that route called /second. So what is /second? So we have defined a route where we said router.route /second. I want you to show the second view in hash content. So second view is nothing but, it says, hey, there is a UI template called second view, show that. And so second view is this. So not only this, what I can now, so what I can do now is, in the first view, I can come back here and then do like div data-role is equal to calendar, and just close the div. Okay. And then in the second view, what I can do is, let me go and then get some interesting stuff. So we have a control called as panel bar. It's pretty similar to what Outlook panels are. So I will come back here and then say like, hey, data-role is panel bar, UL ID, and then this is just a bunch of UL LIs coming in. So now if I go back to my screen and then do a fresh, there you go. So what it has done is, in the first view, I'm getting a calendar. Let me click on the second view now. So I've clicked on the second view. In the second view, you see a panel bar coming up now. right? So I'm just showcasing a simple scenario wherein I don't have to go and then write different thing, but rather I'm getting different UI templates bound and then showing the UI. Of course, you can imagine a situation where you want to go to the server side, get the data bound. Yes, you can do everything. For a simplicity's sake, I've shown you, like, I can create a data like this, the control like this. I can create a control like this. Not only that, our Kendo UI controls are all responsive by nature. So see what happens when I resize. Notice the menu. The menu is able to fit according to whatever screen size is available. So let me just go, maybe do like this. There you go. Are you able to see this? I'm not sure if GoToMeeting is doing the justice in showcasing this, but when I resize my window, notice what is happening to the panel bar and notice what is happening to the menu. They automatically adapt to whatever UI that I have, right? So if you use Kendo UI controls to create your web pages, yes, if somebody is using that web page from a mobile or a tablet, our controls are responsive for the layouts, and they're also touch ready and then mobile ready. Now this is something to do with simple stuff. So let's take a maybe let me close out all these things. Let me show you some of our advanced widgets that we have, and there's one particular thing that we want to talk about. So this is part of the Kendo UI Professional. This is the grid. So what this can do is pretty much it uses the data source under the hood in order to go and then read data. So if I show here, I'm now going to a remote data, and pretty much I'm able to go and then read a data from our servers, demo servers. If you see here, demos, telerik.com, service, Northwind, and orders, and we are reading orders. But if you look at the coding, this is all it takes. You just say kendo.grid. Here is the data source. Here is the read URL. Here is the schema that it comes out, and then I'm saying page size, server paging true, server filtering true, server sorting true, and the rest of the things are done by the grid in terms of the data source itself. So for example, if I now click on, let's say, 10th page, there are 830 items. It's showing 1 to 20 of 830 items. Now I'm going to go and then click on 10th page. You saw it doing a spinning thing. That's because it automatically went to the server and then brought the data. I don't have to do anything except I told it, like, hey, you should do the paging is handled on the server side, and you have to read data from so and so URL. That's all I had to say, and then it does everything. Not only that, since I said it can be filtered, so here is the filtration that you see here. I can come back here and then say, like, hey, contains, let's say, var. And then click on filter, and now you will see it's getting filtered, and then here is the shipper name, Warkin, and let me clear it, so you'll get back to everything. So one thing that we are kind of recently we released was the ability to do an offline, just give me a second. Yeah, grid working offline. So what if you have a scenario wherein, so for example, now keep looking at what is happening in the bottom. So currently I am in a connected mode. That means I have the internet. Now I'm going to go, I can do all this thing, refresh everything. But what if, let's say, I'm offline now, right? So if you see here, it said, hey, I'm working offline now, but still I will be able to read everything. If you see here, it is able to read all the data, and then I can actually go in and say, like, edit this, I can increase this and then update. But it never went to the server for the update. That's because it knows it is disconnected. So I can come back here, maybe I can go here and then say this is edited, this is 77 updated. So there are two edits that I have done. Now notice what happens in the console as soon as I go online. If you see here, working, request start, request end, update. So it knew that I've updated 2 items. So it picked up those 2 items and then went and then synced back with the server. So in order to make it work offline, there's only 1 line of code that you need to do, 2 lines of code actually. You just set what is the offline key that the grid should use so that it can store data, and then you just have to tell whether we are online or offline. So how you tell that is through this particular method. Should the grid go online or should the grid be offline? So you just set that, and we will be able to work accordingly. We know what needs to be done. So if you see here, we are just going and then storing data in a local storage, and we'll be able to come back, pick it up when you're online. We also have adaptive rendering capability for this grid. So if you see the grid here now, this is a mobile device, but it's the same grid that's being used in the mobile device. And take a look at that. And then not only that, when I do an add new record, notice what happens. I get a new screen coming up, but you as a programmer will not write all these screens. It's already baked into the Kendo UI grid. So it's basically you can do that. When I do want to column setting, sort ascending, and I can say like, hey, show me this particular column or not. I don't want to see discontinued column, so now you won't see discontinued column. I can click on edit button here, and you will see like it goes to the edit button. Then I can do all these things, update it, it will go back. So like this. So we have the adaptive rendering capability for a couple of our widgets. Next, let me show you our data visualization capability. So let's take a simple area chart. So this is a area chart. Just give me a second. There you go. So this is the area chart, and this is the data visualization widget. We just saw a mobile widget. Now this is an example of a data visualization widget. So usage is pretty similar. You just have an HTML. So here is my div ID chart, and then I'll just say convert that into Kendo chart. Of course, there are other constructs like title, legend, series defaults. Here is the series data that I'm giving. There are two series data that are coming, India and the worldwide. So if you now go and then see, there are in fact three series: India, world, and Haiti. Gross domestic product growth. And this is SVG. So now if I zoom in my screen, I am currently at maybe around 200%. So you will see that the graphic or the graph itself, it's not kind of distorted. It's still crispy. I can still see that all the things are pretty clear. So that is because this is using SVG. So the graph is actually an SVG, scalable vector graphics, that is coming. And that's all pretty much. It's there with the SVG. It lets you see the without any distortion. It's not a JPEG or it's not an image that is there, but it's a distortion-free graphic that comes up. If the browser is a non-HTML file, you will see a vector markup language coming up. So pretty much. Let's try to see where we are in terms of the deck, because I just went. So we saw the data source, we saw the MVVM. Of course, we talked about the globalization. I show you how the templating works, and effects we did not see. Of course, we saw the widgets, and then last but not the least, we also have integration with Breeze, AngularJS, Backbone.js, Knockout, Bootstrap. So we work very well with everybody. In terms of the AngularJS, this is how simple it can be. In your controller, just say scope month picker config, and then what you're seeing here is actually our Kendo UI directive. So we have Kendo dash, and then the directives like data dash picker, k.options is equal to month picker config. So that's all. That's as easy as it can get with a AngularJS integration. Of course, there are plenty much things that you can do with Kendo and Angular. You can use Kendo UI widgets as a front end, and then you can still be with Angular as your core logic, and then our directives, and then all these things will help you to get a pretty UI on the UI side. So how do you get Kendo UI core, or how do you get Kendo UI? As I showed you, you can just go to, let me bring back my browser. So you can always go to www.telerik.com. Oh, my mistake. So in the product section, you will be having Kendo UI. And there are free trials available for Kendo UI, and you can see the online demos. And we also have reference to this open source version also. So Kendo UI Core, which is a subset of Kendo UI licensed under Apache V2. You can either use the open source if you, and as I said, the open source will not give you all the widgets. The advanced widgets like grid, data visualization is available only as part of the professional, whereas the Kendo UI Core will give you 24 web widgets and then the complete mobile application framework. I think we didn't see a demo of mobile, so maybe let me quickly show you a demo of mobile also. One of the demos that I like is our list view demo. So this is a mobile list view. Let me pull to refresh with endless scrolling. So let me do this. So this is now going to, so if you see here, you can do a pull to refresh, and this is an endless scrolling that you see here. I can click on add a product, all those things. So what you're seeing here is a Kendo mobile list view. This has been done using Kendo UI mobile. And I talked about adaptive rendering. So currently it's running in iOS 7 theme. I can come back here and say, hey, how does it look like in Android light or dark? So this is what Android, on Android, this particular mobile list view will look like, whereas no code changes, right? And then how does it look like in BlackBerry? There you go. I kind of like BlackBerry UI. I don't know why, but so there you go. So this is the BlackBerry UI. Here's how it looks like, and here is how the Windows Phone will look like. The dark theme, the light theme. This is Windows Phone. And also we also have this concept of flat theme. So irrespective of the platform, it's going to look like this. Whether it's been Android or iOS or Windows Phone, it's going to look like this. If you're okay with this look, you can always put a flat theme and then use it. So we have close to 15 or so mobile widgets. In the interest of the time, I'm not going into everything, but as I said, you have pretty much all the widgets available. So I know these are the things that you can always go. All these demos are available online, demos.telerik.com/KendoUI, and then you can play with it. So these are some of the resources. You can always go to Kendo UI Core on the GitHub in Telerik repo. You can also get it as a NuGet package. If you're interested in Kendo UI Core from NuGet, you can download always, or you can use the CDN for this one. The commercial ones, once you buy the license, we will give you the source code, we'll give you the package, everything. So that's part of the commercial. If you want to try Kendo UI without installing anything, you can always go to trykendoi.telerik.com. It's a dojo, so meaning everything is set up. All you need to do is just start coding, and there is a right-hand side output that keeps on showing. Demos, of course, Kendo UI demos, demos.telerik.com/Kendo UI. And my name is Lohit. I work as a developer evangelist for Telerik. I'm also a Microsoft MVP. These are my coordinates. You can write to me at lohit.nagaraj at telerik.com. I think I missed putting my email, so let me put my email. There you go. So that's my email, and let me stop the recording for now.